4 days, long enough for every whispered prayer to appear unanswered, long enough for mourners to stop expecting a miracle, long enough for a sealed cave to become a grave, and a grave to become final. Behind this stone lay Lazarus of Bethany. His body had been wrapped for burial. His sisters had wept until their voices failed. And now the man they believed could have saved him was finally standing outside the tomb. Jesus looked at the stone and gave a command no grieving family expected to hear. "Take away the stone." But the most troubling part of this story was not that Lazarus had died. It was that Jesus had known Lazarus was dying, and he had waited. Bethany was a small village near Jerusalem, and the home of Lazarus and his sisters had often welcomed Jesus. This was more than a place to sleep or eat. It was the home of people he loved. Then Lazarus became dangerously ill. Martha worked desperately to cool his fever. Mary remained beside him, searching his fading eyes for hope. They had heard of blind eyes opened and broken bodies restored. They knew what Jesus could do. So the sisters sent a messenger with a short, urgent appeal. "Lord, the one you love is sick." They did not need to explain which man. They did not even ask Jesus to heal him. Love, they believed, was reason enough for him to come. The messenger hurried away. Mary and Martha listened for returning footsteps, but Jesus did not come. When Jesus received the message, he declared that the final purpose of this sickness would not be death, but the glory of God. Then John's Gospel gives us a sentence almost impossible to understand at first. Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, so he remained where he was for 2 more days. Not because he was indifferent, not because the journey was too far, and not because he lacked the power to help. He waited deliberately. Back in Bethany, Lazarus took his final breath. The sisters washed their brother's body, wrapped it in linen, and carried him to a rock-cut tomb. The entrance was sealed. Friends and neighbors filled their home, but no number of mourners could answer the question inside their hearts. Why had Jesus not come? To Mary and Martha, his delay felt like absence. But beyond what they could see, the delay was preparing a revelation greater than the rescue they had requested. Let us go back to Judea. "Rabbi, the leaders there recently tried to stone you. Are you going back?" Bethany lay close to Jerusalem, where opposition against Jesus had become deadly. Returning was not simply a journey to a grieving family. It was a step toward enemies already looking for a way to kill him. Jesus told the disciples that their friend Lazarus had fallen asleep and that he was going to awaken him. They assumed natural sleep and hoped the sickness had passed. So Jesus spoke without metaphor. "Lazarus is dead. For your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. Let us go to him." The disciples still did not understand, but Thomas recognized the danger. "Let us also go, that we may die with him." And together they walked toward Bethany, toward a family convinced it was too late, a tomb sealed for 4 days, and a miracle that would place Jesus directly in the shadow of the cross. Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days when word reached the house. Jesus was approaching. Martha ran to meet him. She had waited for this moment, perhaps rehearsed these words through every sleepless hour. When she finally stood before Jesus, grief and faith came out in the same breath. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Yet even now, I know God will give you whatever you ask." She did not hide her pain. She brought it directly to him. "Your brother will rise again. I know he will rise in the resurrection at the last day." Martha believed in a future resurrection. Jesus was about to reveal that resurrection was not only a future event. Its power was standing before her. "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord, I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who has come into the world." "The teacher is here. He is asking for you." Mary rose immediately. The mourners thought she was going to the tomb, so they followed her. But Mary ran to Jesus. She fell at his feet, the same place where she had once listened to his teaching and spoke the same painful words as her sister. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Then her words dissolved into weeping. Jesus saw Mary's tears. He heard the mourning of those who had followed. The Gospel says he was deeply moved and troubled. "Where have you laid him?" "Lord, come and see." Jesus knew what he was about to do. He knew death would not keep Lazarus. Still, he did not rush past their sorrow or rebuke their tears. Jesus wept. The one about to confront the grave first stood beside the grieving. See how he loved him. He opened the eyes of the blind. Could he not have kept this man from dying? It was the question hanging over the entire village. If Jesus had the power, why had he not used it sooner? But the crowd was measuring his love by their timetable. They could imagine Jesus preventing death. They could not yet imagine him commanding it. At the tomb, Jesus was again deeply moved. Death was not treated as a harmless illusion or a sentimental doorway. It was an enemy, the intruder that tears families apart and turns homes of laughter into houses of mourning. Now the life stood face to face with that enemy. Only a stone separated the crowd from the terrible evidence of 4 days in the grave. "Take away the stone." "Lord, by now there will be an odor. He has been there 4 days." Martha believed Jesus was the Messiah, but faith was now being asked to stand beside the physical reality of death. 4 days left no room for a mistaken diagnosis, a faint pulse, or a sleeping man. Lazarus was dead. Opening the tomb would expose the grief his sisters had sealed behind the stone. Jesus looked at Martha. "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" The men pressed their shoulders against the stone. It resisted. They pushed again. Rock ground against rock. Dust rose through the air as the entrance slowly opened. Jesus lifted his eyes, not because he needed to summon power through a performance, but so the people would understand where the sign came from. "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I know you always hear me, but I say this for the people standing here, so they may believe that you sent me." This miracle would not be a private comfort hidden inside one family. It would be a public sign declaring who Jesus was. The mourners stared into the cave. Nothing moved. No one breathed. Then Jesus faced the darkness and cried out with a voice that carried across the hillside, "Lazarus, come forth!" For one suspended moment, the open tomb remained silent. Then something moved inside. A shape appeared where no living person should have stood. Lazarus came out. His hands and feet were still wrapped with strips of linen. Burial cloth covered his face. The mourners who had watched him buried now watched the impossible emerge from his grave. The Gospel does not tell us what Lazarus experienced during those 4 days. It tells us something the crowd could verify with their own eyes. The man who had died was standing before them alive. Martha's hands trembled. Mary could not speak. Every accusation, every unanswered question, and every hopeless tear collided with the sound of their brother breathing again. Jesus gave one more command, this time not to the dead man, but to the living people around him. "Unbind him and let him go." They rushed forward and removed the cloth from his face. Death had spoken the name of Lazarus for 4 days, but one command from Jesus had the final word. Many who witnessed the miracle believed in Jesus. They had not heard a distant rumor. They knew Lazarus. They had comforted his sisters. Some had likely walked in his funeral procession and watched the stone close over his body. Now they could speak with him, but not every witness responded with faith. Some hurried to the Pharisees and reported what Jesus had done. The raising of Lazarus had taken place only a short distance from Jerusalem. It was public, undeniable, and politically explosive. If the news continued to spread, even more people would follow Jesus. For Mary and Martha, the miracle restored a brother. For the religious authorities, it created a crisis. And for Jesus, giving Lazarus back his life would bring his own death much closer. What are we accomplishing? This man is performing many signs. If we allow him to continue, everyone will believe in him. They feared that the growing movement around Jesus would provoke Rome and threaten their place and nation. Then Caiaphas, the high priest that year, spoke, "It is better for one man to die for the people than for the whole nation to perish." He intended a political solution: eliminate Jesus to preserve their power. Yet his words carried a meaning deeper than he understood. Jesus would indeed die for the people, but not as a helpless victim of their plan. From that day, they resolved to put him to death. The miracle outside Lazarus's tomb did more than reveal Jesus' authority over death. It forced everyone who heard about it to decide who they believed Jesus was. Some bowed before the life-giver. Others began planning his grave. Later, shortly before Passover, Jesus returned to Bethany for a meal held in his honor. Martha served. Mary poured costly perfume on Jesus' feet, and Lazarus sat at the table, the living evidence of what Jesus had done. Crowds came not only to see Jesus, but also to see the man who had walked out of his tomb. Lazarus did not need a speech. His breath was testimony. His presence was proof. So the chief priests made another horrifying decision. They planned to kill Lazarus as well, because many were believing in Jesus on account of him. The man who had escaped one grave was now marked for death by people desperate to bury the evidence. But truth had already left the tomb. It could not be sealed behind a stone again. Lazarus was raised, but one day he would face death again. He came from the tomb, still wearing burial cloths, and needed others to remove them. Jesus was moving toward a greater resurrection. Soon he would surrender his life on a cross and be placed inside another sealed tomb. But when his tomb was opened, the grave cloths would be left behind. He would rise never to die again. Calling Lazarus out of the grave was therefore both a miracle and a declaration. Death was powerful, but it was not sovereign. The grave was real, but it was not final. And the one weeping outside Lazarus's tomb would soon enter death himself, break its claim from within, and emerge victorious. Mary and Martha thought the delay meant Jesus had failed them. Instead, he entered their grief and revealed more of himself than they had ever known. His delay was not indifference. His tears were not weakness. And the stone was not the end. There are moments when faith still has questions, when heaven seems silent, hope feels buried, and every human possibility has been exhausted. The story of Lazarus does not promise that pain is imaginary or that believers never grieve. It reveals something greater. Jesus does not merely possess resurrection power, he is the resurrection and the life. And when his voice speaks, even death must listen. Lazarus, come forth. If this story strengthened your faith, share it with someone who needs to remember that no tomb is stronger than the voice of Jesus.